Iran wants to make a deal because they have no military left, essentially, and they want to make a deal, but I'm not satisfied. There's tremendous discord. They're having a tremendous problem getting along with each other in Iran. The leadership is very disjointed. It's got 2 to 3 groups, maybe 4, and it's a very disjointed leadership. And with that being said, they all want to make a deal, but they're all messed up. They get close, and then a new group of people come in. They don't know who their leaders are. They have no idea who their leaders are.
Just a string of falsehoods from Donald Trump. Just a bunch of, basically, I don't know how else to call it, just a bunch of BS. As he spoke, this was either Friday or Saturday, sometime over the weekend. Really not much has happened or changed in the Iran war. I'm Borzu Deragahi. This is my podcast, a short edition of it, this Monday, May 4th, 2026. Just a little bit of a commentary from me and NewsX over the weekend about Trump's latest comments and the likelihood that he actually is even talking about reality. Listen in.
They're very confused, and that's because of the success we've had militarily.
Mr. Deragahi, as an American, where exactly do you think Trump would focus now to convince his base or convince the voters on his upcoming election, in midterm election, to listen whatever decision he makes with Iran?
Well, I think that any viewer who viewed the comments that you just broadcast, honestly, would have to say that there's absolutely no clarity and there's no reason, actually, in his comments. They were kind of nonsense. I think that if you look at the reporting from the serious news outlets, as well as the top Israeli analysts, including former intelligence officials, his assessment of Iran's leadership is totally wrong and misguided. There are debates in Iran, for example, but there's no leadership in disarray. That's absolutely not the case. And there's a certain consistency, actually, in the Iranian position on the nuclear issue, on the issue of ballistic missiles and proxies, which they have completely refused to discuss even. But on the nuclear issue, their position is clear. If you allow Iran to have a little bit of enrichment capacity, then we can make a deal. If you don't, then there is no deal possible. And I don't understand why he says that the leadership is in disarray. They basically have been speaking pretty clearly, if stubbornly, about what they want. And as for the Strait of Hormuz, they say that they will unblock the Strait of Hormuz, but impose some kind of penalty because they perceive that the U.S. lost the war. That is the perception in Tehran right now. And for that, it will have to pay a price, and that is that there will be restrictions on the Strait of Hormuz, and it will be reopened once the blockade that the U.S. has imposed has been removed. Honestly, it seems like either the U.S. Administration is getting really bad or twisted advice, or Trump is just simply not telling the truth, as he has been wont to do for a long time. And his idea of a deal is, I think that this is a man without any principles or real ideas, really. Let's be honest. He's just a guy who wants to look good. So as long as the optics of a deal look good and he can sell it to enough Republicans that will keep him in power and prevent him from being impeached, because he's going to lose the midterms. The Republicans are going to lose the midterms. He's fine with that. The problem is he's between a rock and a hard place. There's no deal that looks any better than the JCPOA, the nuclear deal that Barack Obama forged. And the alternative to that deal is more war, which Americans absolutely don't want. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapons program officially, and it doesn't have nuclear weapons. They have had a latent nuclear weapons program, according to theorists. They've been trying to get the nuclear weapons capability, but they don't have the capability yet. It's funny and kind of interesting because I would say that before this conflict, most Iranians, including those in the middle class, those fancy yuppie people you see in the north of Tehran, were very much against Iran's involvement in Lebanon, its support for Hamas, its support for the Houthis. One of the slogans was in protest was neither Gaza nor Lebanon, my soul for Iran. And now what has happened is because of the black eye, in a way, that Hezbollah is perceived to have given Israel in southern Lebanon, the barrages of rockets that they fired during this conflict, you see some people changing their minds, actually, and saying that, actually, maybe the IRGC, maybe the Revolutionary Guard got it kind of right. Maybe we actually do need these proxies as a deterrent force. And that is, I think, one of the consequences and negative consequences of the US-Israeli attack. Now, Iran, if it wasn't going for a nuclear weapon, if it was only going for a nuclear deterrent, you're going to see Iran pushing for a nuclear weapon now. And I think that is going to be the same case with the proxies. If they were hesitant about using those proxies, now they're going to start investing in those proxies in Iraq, in Yemen, in Lebanon, in Hezbollah, as well as possibly in the Palestinian territories. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Badlands Podcast. You can find me at borzou.substack.com. That's BORZOU.